of all, thanks for coming tonight. I just wanted to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about who I am, and then also some of my experiences that I think have got me ready to hopefully be a principal here at the Ottoson. So, first of all, I am married and live in Belmont. I have 3 daughters. I have one who's a freshman in college, one who's a freshman in high school, and then I have a 7th grade daughter as well. I grew up in Rockport on the North Shore of Boston, went to the University of New Hampshire, didn't really know what I wanted to do at all, graduated about the early 90s, ended up in California, not taking my parents' advice. They had always told me that I probably should go into education. In my early 20s, I really didn't listen much to my parents. I do a lot now. So what ended up happening is I came back, went to Boston College, and got a job back at my old middle school in Rockport. So I was there for a year, but unfortunately in the early 90s, with budget problems, a lot of times you got pink slips if you were a non-tenured teacher. So I got a pink slip at the end of the year. My position would be saved, but I went out and interviewed and got a job in Concord. And I was at the Concord Middle School for 5 years, learning how to become an educator. Loved my time in Concord. I was coaching at the high school, and I was a 6th grade social studies teacher. And I thought one of the really, really nice things was I would get to meet kids as they were leaving the elementary school. I'd get to have relationships with them, and then I would see them in high school as they were getting ready to graduate and go to college. And I just thought that was wonderful. And I think I would have been in Concord probably for the next 30 years, except for my wife came home one day and she said I was given the opportunity to go to London and run an office, and it's free housing, and we'll have a great time. And so I thought that was wonderful. In fact, I see someone who used to work with my wife, so she can vouch for that story in London. So we were there for 2 years. At the end of the 2 years, I came back and I got a job at the Wellesley Middle School. It's probably where I grew up as an educator. I worked for just a wonderful principal by the name of John Doria, who ran an outstanding building. He built trust. It was a place in which people were excited to come to work. It's where the kids were well behaved. They were on the cutting edge, I think, of a lot of educational philosophies and trying things. It wasn't static. It was dynamic and fun. And once again, I thought I was there for the duration. We had our 3rd child at this time, and she was just a little sickly. So my wife and I were getting kind of tired of as many, I think, parents who both work, of trying to decide who would stay home with the sick kid. So there were those debates of, I've got to get in there. No, I have a meeting, I have a test. And we decided to take, or I would take 2 years off. And during that time, John encouraged me to go back and get my administrative degree. I did. I got excited about leadership and the idea of becoming an administrator. I sat next to 2 people from Norwood at the time, and these 2 people from Norwood said that there was a great job opportunity there. They said they need a varsity soccer coach. I said, great. They said we have a new position in which we have a dean of students. It was called a housemaster's job. And it allowed you to teach, but do some scheduling, do some discipline, be involved in some leadership decisions. So I went to Norwood, and Norwood was a fun but chaotic place. I came there, and as I entered kind of my career in Norwood, the first thing that I knew was the assistant principal that had been there the year before had actually been arrested from embezzling funds from the teachers union. So the staff was a little bit upset. They had had 3 principals because the principal had quit during the year, I think a little bit due to what had happened, and they had 2 interim. During my time in Norwood, there were budget cuts. There were 3 principals I worked for, 3 superintendents, 2 school committee members got arrested. It was a fun but chaotic place. I know I'm being taped, so I just want to say how much I love Norwood, but they understand it was a crazy time back then. I was looking for a little bit more stability. A job came up in Dover Sherburne, and I've been there as the assistant principal for 5 years. I enjoy it. I really like the administrative staff that I work with. The kids are great, but I'm getting ready for the next challenge.